to the first episode of Creative Club. I'm super excited. My name is Desi. I'm an artist and DJ from Los Angeles, California, and I'm part of the Gospel Hydration family. So in episode 1 today, we're gonna be talking about how do you build a release timeline. There's actually strategies, there's actually systems you can build to help maximize every single song that you drop. So I'm part of an organization called One Voice, and this is a timeline that I trained our artists to use here when they're releasing their singles. And we've seen this work. One of the tracks that we put out, the second release for this artist, did over 500,000 streams, climbed the algorithmic ladder, and got into a Spotify curated playlist. We dropped another EP that we did single EP. That EP did 100,000 streams in the first weekend. So I've seen results with this timeline. Now that doesn't mean it's the end all be all timelines. Maybe it'll just inspire you to create your own. Maybe you've got your own and this will help sharpen it. Let's dig into it. Okay, so here's the timeline. We've got the release date, and then I've got this kind of timeline going all the way to 6 weeks prior to release. So there's kind of 3 different things happening with the release. You've got the artists and the producers, the actual music creation. You've got the media, whether that's the artwork design, the video, the social graphics, all the content around the release. And then you've got the distribution of the release. And this doesn't just mean uploading to DistroKid or uploading to CD Baby. This means even the strategy of getting it playlisted, the online ads that you're gonna run. So there's 3 things going on with the release. Between 6 weeks out and 3 weeks out, you've got the entire thing done. By 6 weeks out, hopefully all the recordings are done and you're moving into mix and master, because you're gonna want this track to be done 3 to 4 weeks out. And so if you're somebody who mixes and masters your own music, you've got more flexibility. You can kind of work up to that deadline. If you get it shipped off for mastering, you probably want to get this thing done 6 weeks out. This next part of the timeline is media. And so a lot of the releases we did, especially last year, we were working with a creative team. So maybe we had a couple designers, a video editor. We would give them basically this 3-week window. You'd want to get kind of your final assets, your final videos and photos done at this 4-week point. Once the artwork is done, then the next 2 weeks they're spending all their time working on final graphics, the videos, the artwork and stuff like that that's gonna go on social media. And here's this third group, distribution. Between this 4 to 3 week period, you wanna have the final artwork and the final song to upload no later than 3 weeks prior. I would encourage you to do it 4 or 5 weeks out. And the important step here I want to highlight is once that's uploaded, a couple days after that, you're going to see your song appear in the back end of your Spotify for Artists account. And it is extremely important that you do not miss this step. When you're in your Spotify for Artists account, you can see this little tab that has like upcoming release. And when you click in there, you have the option to submit it to Spotify. And basically what you're doing is you're submitting it for an editorial playlist. You're basically telling Spotify a bunch of information about your song. You're giving it metadata about your song. And the most important part is where you put your related artists that you sound like. You want to pick maybe 3 to 5 huge artists and then maybe 5 to 7 smaller artists, and really tell Spotify who you are, what you sound like, so it knows how to put your music in front of the right listener. The other thing that you're doing, and the more important thing you're doing, you're actually making your song available to be put in Release Radar and Discover Weekly. Now let me explain those. Those 2 playlists that I just said, Release Radar and Discover Weekly, every single Spotify user has those created for them by Spotify when they get the app. They're based on what the person usually listens to, and so a lot of up-and-coming artists or new artists will find their songs being placed in there. They don't really judge it by how big you are or whatever. If they see that a user listens to a certain type of music and your music fits that description, they're gonna put that in there. And basically, to kind of dumb this down, what Spotify does is they kind of show your song to a bunch of people through Release Radar. If the song is listened to, if the listen through rate is good, if people aren't bouncing immediately, like if people are listening to the song, then they start to show it to more. That really helps your growth. To give you an example of this, when we worked on Valerie Bonds' release, it was her second single called Butterflies. In the first couple weeks, I think, or maybe it was like the first month, we had 25,000 streams just from Release Radar. I mean, that's a nice boost, right? Just from doing this step. And that actually was really a big part of it being propelled into the Spotify curated playlist that we got it into, Moody Morning. And this is not with any relationship with Spotify. We're not a major label, not like I know people there. I mean, this is just algorithmic. It just happened. So please give yourself a fighting chance and make sure you're in Release Radar and Discover Weekly. The next step, you've got 3 weeks to 2 weeks. You want to be starting to pitch your song to playlisters. We're going to do a later episode on this subject, on how to pitch your release to a playlist. But for right now, just know that you're going to start that process. And basically, YouTube channels, Spotify playlists, there's different people out there like Gospel Hydration who take submissions from artists and will feature your track. The goal that we always had is we wanted to get our song what we call premiered. So I would hit a playlister up a couple weeks out and say, would you premiere this? The release day is this. I don't want to just hit them after release. I want to hit them like, I want release day. I want to get as many playlists and blogs as possible on release day. The whole process with this is I build a list of playlisters I want to approach, and then I approach them personally, one-on-one. I try to build a relationship with as many as possible. Some aren't interested in building a relationship with you, that's okay. But I try to build a relationship, and at least I try to be personal and just try to add value to what they're doing. I pitch the song to them, hey, do you want to post this song on release day? A lot of them say no, some say yes, and that's kind of what you want. You want some of those to feature you right on release day. About 2 weeks out, this is where you'd want to start if you're doing an Instagram ad, a Facebook ad, anything like that. And again, we're going to get into this in a later video, and depending on when you're watching, there may be a link popping up for you to be able to watch this. This is where you'd want to start those ads, start working on them, start working on the creative. One of the things we learned with ads is we put all this polished work and this dope editing into the ad, and our best performing ads were the ones that we just had the artist hold the phone selfie style. And we got as low as like 1 to 2 cents per click per landing page view on Facebook. Like super simple ad. It basically didn't look like an ad, and I think that's why it performed so well. So then the week out before you release, build out a social schedule. Build out Monday, I'm gonna post a sneak preview of the artwork. Tuesday, I'm gonna hop on stories and say, hey guys, song's coming out. Wednesday, I'm gonna sing a 30-second snippet of it. Thursday, I'm gonna reveal the artwork. And then Friday, I'm gonna drop the track. I'm gonna go live. Just create a little schedule for yourself for the week before and after release to really be intentional with your social media, to push that as far as you can. Again, this template might not work for you, it might not be the best fit for you, but I promise you, if you really think intentionally about how you're gonna release these singles, you're gonna get so many more streams than just throwing it out there to the air. If you have any more questions, leave me a comment below. I'd love to chat more with you. Again, we're gonna put out more specific videos on some of these pieces and parts. Hopefully that'll explain more too. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Gospel Hydration. If you wanna learn more about me, my music, and you wanna talk to me directly, you can DM me on Instagram anytime. Love you guys so much. Talk to you next week.